Lefty double turn. Lefty double turn. My granddaddy was a horse marine.
All right, how are we doing? Welcome to Semper Fi. I'm your host, Staff Sergeant B. Have a special guest today. But a couple of facts before we get started. This day, August 5th, in the Navy, in 1882, authorization of the first steel warships began of the new modern Navy. Just general information, 1884, the first cornerstone was laid for the Statue of Liberty over in Bellows Island, over in the New York Harbor. And in the Army in 1917, the entire membership of the National Guard was drafted into the service of World War I. In 1950, for the Marines, Kenneth Russer was awarded a Gold Star in lieu of a second Navy Cross and became the first Marine to be decorated for valor during the Korean War. And in the Air Force in 1952, Major Robinson Reisner scored his first aerial victory of the Korean War. He later became a POW and he retired as a brigadier general. And on his day in the Coast Guard, nothing happened. Go figure that one, right? So without further ado, my guest will be Dr. Tom Walters, who spent, according to your resume, 32 years or 35 in the Air Force?
32 years.
32 years. Welcome to Semper Fi, sir.
Thank you.
What if I call you Master Sergeant, Colonel, Doctor?
You can call me Tom if you like.
All right, sir. Give us a brief rundown of your history.
Well, I joined the Air Force when I was quite young, as obviously, hopefully you can tell that, because I'm not 100 years old right now. But I joined the Air Force when I was quite young, right after high school. In fact, 2 weeks after high school graduation, I was in basic training at Lackland Air Force Base, and had a lot of fun. And because I joined so young and enjoyed what I was doing, my first job in the Air Force was as working in weapons, bomb loaders and things like that. And then I moved on to egress, which is working on ejection seats on fighters and bombers. That I really loved. I love working with explosives, so that was just the thing for me. And I guess right in there, I'd like to throw in my most embarrassing moment. Don't usually talk about this, but I'm going to go ahead and say it so everybody else can laugh along with me. I was out on the flight line, and this young officer I just looked at was a young officer. He was the pilot coming out. I was finishing up on the ejection system, and I noticed the silver on his uniform, so I wanted to impress him with my knowledge of officer rank. So I said, "Lieutenant, I just want you to know I'm almost finished with your airplane." And we had a short conversation, and I kept calling him Lieutenant because I wanted to, and I wanted to impress him with that, the fact that this young E3 knew knew what a lieutenant was. And so we're doing all this talking, but I wasn't that close to him because he was on the other side of the aircraft doing his pre-flight. And as he got closer to me, I noticed that it was not a silver bar for a first lieutenant. It was a star for a brigadier general. So this whole time of me calling him lieutenant, and I noticed that he kept smiling whenever I said it. And I was thinking to myself, this kid is impressive. He knows a lieutenant when he sees him. When he was probably thinking, this kid doesn't know a general when he sees him. So that was my most embarrassing moment, I think, in the entire 32 years. There's a lot of good situations. My assignments, I think I've had some outstanding assignments, and I can't complain about any of them. Vietnam came later. My promotions came pretty fast, and I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed being promoted. I enjoyed being recognized for some of the things I had done. The people that I met, I think, was most enjoyable because some of these people are still friends, and we still keep in touch.
Well, that's good.
So being in the military, any branch of the military, I think is truly outstanding. Now, I have to say, I knew the Air Force well. I had not served with the other branches, so I really didn't know them that well until Vietnam. In Vietnam, I got a chance to serve with the Army, got a newfound respect for the Army. Then after 3 months, I got transferred to Da Nang Air Base with the Marines, talking about a newfound respect for the Marine Corps. And even though I received the Purple Heart in Vietnam, I tell people, and I'm very proud of the fact that I knew Marines. My family would have received the Purple Heart had it not been for the Marines. Marines actually saved my life. The air base was under attack, I mean a very serious attack. We lost half of our airplanes. We had 36 F-4s on Da Nang, and they were split up north end of the base and south end of the base. The enemy took out the entire south end of the base. All the airplanes on the south end were destroyed. Some of the airplanes in the middle of the base were destroyed, and they started walking rockets toward the north end of the base. The Marines were out doing hand-to-hand with the enemy. They're the ones that stopped the attack. Really? Had the Marines not been there, the entire base would have been destroyed. We would have lost a whole lot more people than we did. And since I was blown off an airplane, that airplane, had it blown up, I wouldn't be here talking to you today.
What base was this over?
That was Da Nang Air Base. And again, there was a stronghold of the Marines, and the Marines took care of it, and the Marines took care of us. Jeez. And so, again, my respect for the Marine Corps, for the Army, for the Navy, because the Navy defended us as well. The military is a team. Working together, we get the job done. Working separately, we'd be wiped out. And that's why we have to depend on each other and defend each other.
That's what I always say. You know, we all have different branches, but we all serve under the same flag.
Absolutely. The red, white, and blue is important.
Don't mean to cut you off or interrupt you, but you might want to explain to people that are looking at your hat and notice the Master Sergeant and the Lieutenant Colonel.
Okay.
How would you explain how you went from, why you wear both insignias? We'll put it that way.
Okay, and I do get a lot of questions about that. They say, what rank were you? I say, well, both.
And what was your motivation to go from the enlisted side to the officer side?
I will go with that. Again, I was enlisted, and I was enlisted for 8 years on active duty. And I left the active duty as a tech sergeant, E6 in the Air Force. And while in the National Guard, I got promoted to E7, Master Sergeant. And so that's why I wear the Master Sergeant rank. And I thoroughly enjoyed being an NCO. And I have to tell anybody that served in the military or planning to serve in the military, being enlisted is ideal. Being an officer is a job. So I had more fun being an NCO. And even as an officer, I found out most of my friends were NCOs. And that's just the way we did it. But I had not planned on becoming an officer. It was not my goal. My goal was to become Chief Master Sergeant, E9 in the Air Force, because that's what I wanted to do. I enjoyed that rank, I looked to that rank, and that was my goal. But during my break in service, and I need to tell you why I had a break in service,